Hey guys, so today I'm gonna be doing a little bit something different that I normally do because my preferred look is more natural and glowy, but I'm gonna mix it up a little bit and I'm going to do a full glam look with contouring and baking. It's something a little bit different that I'm used to, but hopefully you will enjoy it. And if you have any questions at all, please DM me, message me, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions. So for my first step, I'm gonna make sure that my face is all cleansed. For this, I'm just gonna be using the Nivea 2-in-1 cleanser and toner, so you have both things together. For the next step, I'm going to be using the Pixi Skin Shade Hydrating Milky Serum. And I'm just going to be applying a few pumps on my hand and just massage it in my face. Making sure that you hydrate your skin as much as possible if you're wearing a full coverage foundation is super important. So for the next step, I'm going to be using a face primer, and for the face primer I chose Radiant Boost from Kiko Milano. So this primer has a little bit of a glow, so I want, because my skin can get quite dry, especially in cold weather, and if I'm going to be applying a full coverage foundation, I want to ensure that it's not too dry and flaky. So for the next step, I'm going to be using a full coverage foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. These are the Airbrush Flawless foundations. So it says it stays all day and all night, and it is quite heavy. So ensure if you have a very dry skin, make sure you use a lot of moisturizer underneath. I'm going to be using two shades because obviously I couldn't find the exact shade that I need, but finding mixing these two shades together gives a perfect kind of color what I'm looking for. And for this I'm using a brush at the begin with, and then I'm going to be using a sponge to kind of even out the foundation. So when you're happy with your foundation and everything is set, what I'm gonna do now is do my contour. So as it's a full coverage and heavy glam makeup, I'm gonna be doing a little bit more of a contour and sculpt. So for this, again, I'm gonna be using one of the Kiko products. This is the Sculpting Touch Cream Contour, so it looks like this. You can buy this for $9.99 in any Kiko store or online. It's a nice creamy finish as well. So for my contour, I'm just sculpting where I want it to be contoured. So where you think it needs to go slimmer and to give a little bit more of a shape. So for the conceal part where I want it to be highlighted, I'm going to be using the NARS concealer, and I'm just going to be applying in the areas where I only want it to be highlighted. This is quite a creamy product as well, so it's going to be easy to blend. So now I'm going to be blending these two things together. So ensuring that obviously you don't blend wherever, just to mix everything together, but you're just blending within the contour. Ensure that you have two different sponges or two different brushes, just not to mix the colors together, because you do want to get a nice sculpt. Also, what really helps if you wet your sponge, I find that if you wet it a little bit, it blends easier. For this, I'm just going to be using a setting spray. I find it works as well as much. And I'm going to be blending the darker contour first. If you see, I'm just dabbing it, just literally dabbing it where the contour should be. So when I blended all the contour, all the dark part together, I'm going to leave my nose at the end because I'm going to be using a smaller brush just to give a better finish. I'm going to be doing I'm using a different sponge, and I'm doing the highlights, just blending all the conceal together now. And if you see, I am not going on top of the contour. I'm literally just going where I did input my conceal, and I'm using like an angle. I am just kind of like giving a better line. We obviously want a nice blended line. We don't want any sharp lines. So for the nose, I'm just going to be using a smaller brush just to give a better angle. So when you are finished with your contour and then you're happy that everything is sculpted as you want, I'm going to be setting it now. So for the setting powder, you have to be very, very careful. If you're in certain age and you have a very dry skin, you have to be very careful because setting powder dries your skin like crazy. So like I said, a lot of moisturizing at the very beginning, and I would advise just using a normal satin kind of powders if you have dry, flaky skin. So you do have to be very careful with setting powders. So I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty in Sugar Cookie. So it's just a white setting spray. There's a few different colors. There's a peach and there's a little bit darker one as well. So I'm going to be using the lighter color. The setting powder, it looks like this. So what I do is just put a little bit in the lid. Just be very careful when you open these. These are dangerous. Okay, so I have a little bit in my lid, and I'm using a smaller sponge for this. So I'm just dabbing a little bit, and I'm going to be setting in the areas where I want to set. So this is what I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be doing the eyes now. So I'm going to be leaving everything as it is. I know it looks scary, but trust me. Why I am leaving the powder on is because when I'm doing the eyes, and if any eyeshadow drops, it's easier for it to be cleaned. You can do the eyes before doing this, or you can do it after, but ensuring that if you are going to be using a lot of shadows, if things drop, it is quite hard to move, and if you move it and certain pigment gets loose, it's really difficult to clean. So that's why I choose to bake and leave, and I will show you the next step. So I'm going to be filling in just a little bit of my brows and just tidying them up first. For this, I'm going to be using the BH Pro Studio pencil. Like I mentioned before, I love pencil better than anything else because it's easier to move. Do ensure that you're getting quite of a harder type of pencil, because the soft pencils melt on your skin and you can't get the kind of filling, the sketching as you want. So I find that if it's a harder pencil, it's more easier to control. So that's one eye done. Now I'm going to be doing the other one. So I'm finished with the eyebrows, and now I'm going to be doing is the eyeshadow. First one I'm going to do is prime the eyelid because I want my eyeshadow to last longer. I'm going to be using the Max Factor Miracle Prep Eyeshadow Primer. You can buy this in Boots, Superdrugs, anywhere. So I'm just going to be applying a little amount on my eyelid, and I'm going to be using my finger kind of prep. sure that the whole eyelid is prepped properly. So when we're happy with that, the next step that I'm going to be using is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. This is her new palette. It's super gorgeous. Very beautiful colors. So the colors, I mean, it's entirely up to you what you choose. The ones that I'm going to be working with is these, more like the brownish shades, because it's more of a glam look. So I'm starting kind of with a lighter shade on to prep the whole eye, just to give a little bit more of a contrast. And my advice is, when you're doing one certain type of color on one side of the eye, ensure that you do exactly the same step for the other one, because sometimes it can be quite confusing if you're using like 2, 3, 4 colors and you have forgotten what color maybe you used. If you find them they're quite similar, you will forget. So this eye is going to be looking different than this one. So ensuring that you always, when you do one side, do the other one in the same time, so that way you won't forget. I'll be using a darker shade now to kind of create halo effect looking eye. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm using one of these shades here. I'm using a smaller brush because it's easier to control. And I'm applying in the corners of the eyes. I'm applying a little amount, so I am building the coverage. So it kind of looks like this. Now I'm using the blending brush again. I am blending it together, but only within the colors, where your eyelid ends, kind of like that. See, it's already starting to create a nice contrast. Okay, so I'm going to be adding a little bit more in the corner, so you can, like I said, you just build it up if you think that you need more. So you already start seeing a nice contrast, like a halo effect, darker in each corner and then a bit lighter in the middle. Making sure that you blend everything well together, but only within the colors. Okay, so now when we're happy with the first step, let's ensure we're doing the same exactly for the second one as well. So for the inner part, I'm going to be using a little bit of a white pencil. But I'm going to smudge it, so I'm not going to be drawing it. So the pencil that I'm using is from NYX. They're really pigmented. So what I'm doing is using a cotton bud and pencil, and I'm just taking a little bit just to give me enough shadow, and I am applying in the middle, only where it needs to go, up to the eyelid. And then I'm using a brush just to blend everything together. Okay, and I'm using the same blending brush that I used for blending things together. And I'm just kind of tidying it up. Okay, so when I'm happy with that, I'm going to be using for the second one the same. And I'm going to be using the same steps at the bottom of my eyes as well. So I'm going to be using the darker on the outer corners and the lighter in the middle, just to kind of create a nice shadow. Okay, so when I'm happy with my eyes now, what I'm going to do is tidy everything up. I'm going to take a bigger kind of powder puffy brush, and I'm going to take all the droppings and the excess and the powder off, and I'm going to show you how it looks like. So all the powder is removed and it looks like this. So you see there is no like dark eyeshadow droppings underneath my eyes. Everything looks just quite neat and contoured in right places. So for the next step, I'm going to be using mascara and eyelashes. So for the mascara, I'm going to be using the Maybelline just to kind of give a little bit of volume before I apply lashes. I'm going to do my bottom lashes after when I apply false eyelashes. So for the false eyelashes, I'm going to be using Eva's makeup eyelashes. This is my own brand. They look like this. There is going to be a new collection coming in very soon, but the case design will look the same. They're super beautiful. When I keep saying to people that the lashes come in a super unique kind of case, it's going to be like this. So the lashes, so it's like a little magnet. You open it, you have the mirror, and you have the eyelashes. They're really, really nice, and the length of them is just exactly kind of what I need. Okay, always make sure that you cut the lashes depending on the size of the eyes, because they do come in a pretty standard size. So how to measure them is just place them on the eye, have a look like how much excess is at the corner, and then just kind of cut it off from the outer corners. So this is the one eye. Look at the effect already. My tip is when your eyelashes are on, just after when they dry, just kind of like lift them up, ensuring there's no glue stuck anywhere. So when you're happy with your eyes, what I'm going to do now is bronze and highlight everything. So I'm going to be using the MAC palette for this. So I'm just going to give like extra contour and highlight where I need to. A little blush. So I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution palette. Again, you can find this in Boots, Super Drugs. I think it's only like $8.99. So it is a really good value for money. Especially if you have like 8 different blushers there. They're really pigmented as well. I would really recommend them. So for the highlight, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal highlighting drops. These are probably my favorite drops. You can use them on the body or you can use them on the face. It's entirely up to you, but I'm going to show you. It gives a super beautiful glow. Do you see the result already? They're super beautiful. I love these drops, honestly. So now when we have the highlight, I'm going to be doing the lips, and what I'm going to do is make sure that my lips are moisturized. I'm going to be using the Vaseline moisturizer, just applying all over my lips. I'm going to be using a tissue or a wet wipe to kind of wipe all the excess and all the makeup that's kind of been sitting on the lips. So for the lips, I'm going to contour them, and then I'm going to be applying a semi-matte lipstick. So again, I'm using drugstore product. I'm going to be using the Bourjois lip liner in shade 06, and I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Paris. This is actually one of the new collections, and it's called I Don't in 113. So really beautiful shade. So I'm going to be mixing these two together. Now that's the lips lined. I'm going to be using the lipstick now on top of it. And just to clean kind of the excess out of the lip to make it a little bit more neat, I'm going to be using the same foundation that I used at the beginning, just to kind of clean the edges. So this is the final look of today's makeup tutorial. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to message me. I will be posting this tutorial on my Instagram stories and also on my YouTube channel. So do ensure you subscribe to my YouTube. I will leave a link below, and yeah, and I'll be very happy if you give me suggestions for my next look and what you would like to see. And I'll be seeing you guys very soon.